Okay, champions, welcome back. TCC. Obina Endu.
Carlos V. Spencer.
Yes, sir. All right, so, ladies and gentlemen, this week we are going to talk to you about another major component. And this one is called association. This is a big one.
It is.
Big one, man. So many people fail. I mean, this is one of those that you can get everything right and even get to the mountaintop, get to the 7-6 figures, whatever your goal is financially, and then this one take you out then. So it can take you out before, during the process, or at the end.
That's good.
So that's why this one is really, really deadly. So you got to be careful with this. I'm not trying to scare you, just trying to let you understand the value of this, because the other thing with this is because it's an emotional one, it's also a tricky one. Because I've had to go through this, and it's association, the people that we are around. And what the first thing is this, we're going to do this in two parts, all right? So the first part, we're going to talk to you about association, what that looks like, how you can decipher. And then the second part, we're going to tell you what to then do with that, all right? So please make sure you watch both videos, because together you'll have a full sandwich, all right? So first thing with association is you got to be careful of who you're around. Right? And you should ask 3 questions of the people that you're around. And we'll deal with these questions one at a time. The first one is, who am I around?
Right.
Who am I around? Right? That's a very basic one. Who am I around? So you want to take tally of that. You know, as an example, I use me. I know lots of people. I've been at this entrepreneurial thing for 17, 18 years of my life now. I know a lot of people. I share that, though, for this reason. There are only very few people that I'm in communication with on a regular basis. And Carlos, to let you know about that, because even when we first met, it was tough for us to even communicate, because I kind of had to let him into my circle, if you will. And so there are a lot of people in the bleachers. This is a clue. A lot of people in the bleachers of my life. But there are only a few people in the front row of my life. And so we'll talk to you a little bit more about how to decipher where to put the people on the second video. But this first video, we just want you to identify who's actually in your life. Who do you spend time with, right?
Who's close to you? Like, what's to say? You're an average of the 5 people in your circle.
That's right.
Like your behaviors, like your marriage.
That's
right. Talk about things we talk about. Your mindset.
That's right.
Your money.
That's
Some
right.
of you like, I need to stop hanging around with that broke dude right now. Look, you need to stop hanging around with him.
Yep.
You're an average of the people that you hang around. And you got to start looking at. And again, like I said, I'm here. I'm here to help those who are fresh at this, coming into this entrepreneur, this developing yourself, right? Fresh at it, new at it. Because I know one of the questions you're asking yourself, well, how can I get around these people?
Right.
Like, how can I do it? Like, how? I want to be around more people who are different, who think different, who have more money, who have great marriages. I want to be around more people like that. Well, hopefully you watched one of the videos before we got here.
Right.
But some of the information you'll see is you can start to become somebody different, and you can start to attract somebody different.
Right.
I'm telling you, like, this is me. I'm you who asked that question. I was trying to get into different circles, but I didn't understand, how do I get around different people? Who am I around? There were some people I was around that I didn't necessarily want to be around.
Right.
There are some people that I just didn't have in my life.
Right.
So I'm like, how do I get these people? And I can tell you the God honest truth, as I started to change myself, these people started to show up.
Yep.
Like, these people started to come into my life. These people started to come into my circle, and I started noticing, wow, this happened because I changed myself. So it can happen. I'll give you this while you were saying that, man. Jesus, you want to go deep? He spoke to thousands of people. Then he had 12 disciples.
That's it.
Out of those 12, he had 3 who were close to him. Like, I don't care how you slice this thing. Who you're around matters, and who you the bleachers?
Yep.
And then who you have at the front row.
That's right.
Who do you have in your inner circle? You really got to start paying attention to who you associate with and who you're around. And I say to a lot of people when I go to high schools and speak to young kids, like, I'll know your grades based upon the grades of your 5 friends.
That's right.
Like, I can tell me a whole lot about you.
That's right.
Just about the people you're being around. So
That's
who am I around?
That's right. That's
start
right.
paying attention to that.
That is so true. You know, in fact, it's something we used to talk about all the time. If you hang around 5 wealthy people, then guess who number 6 will be,
That's
right?
it.
If you hang around 5 broke people, then guess who number 6 will be, right?
Yeah.
If you're ugly and you hang around 5, well, that doesn't apply there. But anyway, I'm sorry, y'all. Sorry. I'll focus. I'll stay focused.
Yeah. Well, if you hang around 5 ugly people, You might look good. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I'm just messing with y'all.
I like it.
Oh my gosh. Okay, let's stay focused.
Right.
So no, that's the first question you want to ask is who am I
Yeah.
around, right? And then the second question you want to ask is what are they doing to me? What are they doing to me? These people that I'm around, what are they doing to me? Now, we're not necessarily saying it's bad. We're just saying ask.
Right.
What are they doing to me? Because it's important that you start to pay attention to who's actually orchestrating your life. A lot of us, we don't think for ourselves. We just do based on the circle that we are around. Have you ever noticed? I noticed this in my life. You know, I've constantly worked at this one aspect. If you hang around people who swear a lot, before you know it, you start swearing. And you're not, maybe you weren't even the type of person who cursed all the time. But you just start doing it because of your association. I watch it in my little kids, right? So I have a 2-year-old son. He's junior, right? Obina Indu number 2. Y'all in trouble. Double. It's 2 of us now, right?
Yeah.
So I got Junior, right? Junior's 2. And his older sister, he has 2 older sisters. His older sister right above him, she's 3. Do you know Junior is just like his daddy when he's stubborn about certain things, right? I'm talking about myself. And so we would try to feed Junior. He doesn't want it. Watch this. Bella, come here, honey. You know, Bella's daddy's little girl. She got me wrapped around. I got her wrapped around too, right? So I'm like, Bella, come here, baby. And I say, honey, Papa's going to give you something. You know, Daddy ain't trying to give you something. It's always good. And she's like, what is it, Daddy? And I'll go and give it to her to eat. Guess who now wants one? The same guy. He's like, more. Because, you know, his vocabulary is only like 3 words right now.
Right.
Eat, poop, more. That's all he knows, right? So anyway, but my point is, because he's around his sister all the time, she has that influence over him. Now, here's the crazy thing. She's not even trying to.
Right.
You see? So ask that question, who are you around, right? And then the second one is, what are they doing to you? Because you need to find out. You need to have that check to see, are they helping me? Are they hurting me?
Right. I hope you, and take notes on this too, because like Obi said, this is a 2-part and the reason why we're not cramming everything into this one is because we want you to take the time to write these questions out. You might not be able to process it all while you're watching the video. After you're watching it, you may have to pause it. You may have to take some time. You may have to look through the next week, through the next month, and see what are these people doing to me. You might have to start jotting around, okay, these are people I'm around. Okay, I'm hanging around them on a consistent basis. I'm taking notes. We're asking you to be aware. And in one of the videos, Obi, I said it before too, we're asking you to think, to start to use your mind and think and look at the people in your life and see what are they doing to me. And like Obi said, it's not that they're all doing something bad. You may have some ones who are doing good stuff that you need to be around more.
That's right.
You may be able to say, yo, this person, every time I'm around them, I feel better.
Right.
Every time I'm around them, I get better ideas. We do stuff better. Well, but I'm only spending like an hour every 3 days with them. You need to spend more time with. We're asking you to pay attention to this. Start to write it down and start to focus on it for some period of time so you can come back to it and say, okay, you're going to look at part 2 and see what we're going to tell you to do with them. But what are they doing for you? Like, you really got to be honest with yourself and say, if this is a toxic relationship, it doesn't have to be like a dating relationship. It could be a friendship. If it's toxic, you need to start paying attention to what it's actually doing to you. Because if it's doing something to you and taking you down a wrong road, it's taking you down around people that you don't actually want to do. Obi just said it, like you find yourself swearing because you're around people who swear. If you find yourself doing something that you don't even really want to do, every time you're around this certain type of person, you got to be honest with yourself and say, is this taking me to a place where I want to be? So please write this down. You know, who am I around? And give yourself some time. What are they doing to me? Even if you can't think about it right now, we want you to be cognizant. We want you to start paying attention to what they're doing for you, and even look at the past. What have they done for me? What have you done for me lately?
Millennials.
They missed it. They're like, what are these guys talking about? You look in the past and see what people have done for you, good or bad, and you really ought to start to pay attention. Like I said, for me, even phone calls. Some phone calls I get, and I'm like, I ain't got time for that. I can't do that right now. Some other phone calls I get, like, yes, I can stop everything I'm doing
Yep.
because I know what happens when this person calls me.
Right.
I answer Obi's phone call. So,
He's silly, man.
Yeah.
And I take Carlos calls too. And if I can,
Yeah.
I call him back.
He does.
Carlos, I'll hit you back in a couple
He
minutes.
does.
You know?
He does.
Yeah, man. So folks, it's important that we really pay attention to this. And again, we're not saying this to chastise anybody. Can't say that enough, you all. Because sometimes people misinterpret certain things. And so, and look, you don't even have to tell them that you're doing this.
That's true.
Right?
That's
you don't
true.
even have to tell them, y'all. We're just saying, pay attention. Even if you just do it for today. You may be busy, you got kids, you got to do all this stuff. Do it today. Or you know what? Maybe today is at nighttime. Tomorrow morning, start first thing in the morning. Just start paying attention to your conversation. Start paying attention to the people that you're around. Start paying attention to where they take your mind. Start paying attention to where they take your emotions. And the reason why I said in the beginning that this one is tough and it's tricky, because a lot of times we like or love the enemy. I'm not trying to hurt you.
Yeah.
But like my brother says, if I hit you,
he ain't trying to miss
I'm not trying to miss you.
That's it.
So we're just saying pay attention.
Yeah.
Pay attention, man. And then what happens is as you start to do this, and I'll give you all a little bonus. We weren't planning on going here, but I'll give you a bonus before we cover the last question here. As you start to notice certain things about certain people, right? Let's say that it's on the negative. You don't need to beat them up over it. You don't need to even go say anything. You know what? You tend to be negative. I'm gonna cut you out. You don't need to do all that. All right. So we're not saying do that because that's now you're hurting somebody.
Right.
And you if you have to step on another man for you to go higher, then that's not the place you need to go. So here's the thing. One of the ways to change people is to change yourself.
Yeah.
I think that's the most effective way to change people because when they see you're different, especially when they've always known you to be a certain way. So you and that person, when y'all get around each other, you've always been a certain way, and you guys vibe off of that frequency. And all of a sudden, you flip the script, and now you choose to be this way. They still say that same way. Guess what they do? They start paying attention. They'll be the one to even ask the question. Man, you different. What you doing? Man, what do you mean? Dude, we normally love this. What do you mean you don't want to do that anymore? And then they start to change, and they start to inquire. Even if it means you separate for a little while, it's okay. Doesn't matter. Trust me, we'll go into that next week. But I promise you, it will change them. So there's a saying that if you can't change the people you're around, then you need to change the people you're around.
That's it. I'll say this too, man. I think this one I just sense this lesson is like it's going to be therapeutic for some people. It's really going to help some people. And I'm also going to ask you to be real honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Even if you're watching this video by yourself, when you're asking yourself these questions, especially number 2, what are they doing to me? I want you to ask yourself, what are you doing to other people?
Wow.
Like what effect are you having on them? Because when you're saying that, Obi, like change yourself, you may have to change yourself. You may not have to be the person to go to somebody else and tell them, you're this. You may be that person and be honest with yourself and say, yo, if I'm doing this to other people, let me change myself. Right. Because I want this for me. Right. So let me change myself and let me be this way when other people are around as well. Really, I think this lesson is going to be really therapeutic for people.
Yeah, that's real good. And so the last one is a brief one, and we kind of touched on it already. Yeah. So the first one is, who am I around? Second one is, what are they doing to me? And the third one is that okay? Right. So that's the last question you want to ask yourself is what they're doing to me okay? Right? Because that's ultimately why you're asking those questions is to get to that moment of decision. And then, like I said, next week we'll share with you what to do with the list. So once you've categorized it, who am I around? What are they doing to me? And is that okay? We're going to talk to you in detail about what to do with it. But you need to know, is that okay? Right? It doesn't mean anything bad. It just says, is that okay? Because listen, what may be okay with somebody that's in the same person that's in a relationship with Carlos and I. Say we have one good friend that we both have in common, right? Say his name is Steve, is a good friend of both of ours. Carlos may say, hey, what Steve does with me is okay. But I may say, hey, what Steve does to me is not okay. But does that mean anything bad about Steve? No, it just means the outcome of Steve's interaction is all we're focused on. Right. You see? So this is not about judging the person. It's about judging the association.
And I like what you said too, Obi. It may not be good for you. Right. And it's all right. That's just what I sense right here too. It's okay for you to say this is not okay. Right. And like when you're writing it down, you don't have to necessarily go to the person and say it to their face. But when you're going through this process, who am I hanging around? What are they doing to me? It's all right for you to say, yo, this is not okay. Right. For them to be able to do this to me. It's not okay for me to be treated this way.
That's right.
You're important enough.
That's right.
To yourself, to your family, to this world, to be able to tell somebody that's not okay, and it may be okay for other people.
That's right.
It may not be a bad thing. It just may not be good for you.
That's right.
So we don't want you to look at it and say, well, this is necessarily a bad thing that they're doing. Mm-hmm. The question is it okay that they're doing this to me? Is it okay that this is happening to me? It may be okay for everybody else, but maybe you're changing and you want to become a different person. Maybe you were used to it in the past. Maybe it was okay before, but it's just not okay anymore. And it's all right for you to evolve, to want to be better, to want to have more out of your life, and to say to yourself, you know what, this used to be all right, and I used to accept it. I even used to do it, but I don't want to do it anymore. And for me, it's not okay, man. I think this is really going to be therapeutic, man. Take some time with this list. Really take some time going through this.
That's right. And I would advise you as we close out, be careful not to make an emotional decision.
Yeah.
Because that's where the challenge comes in. Because, you know, we again, if we both have a friend, Steve, you know, we both may love Steve. I mean, like a brother. But if Steve is not good for me, I can't base my decision on how I continue to associate with Steve on how I feel about Steve. I can still love Steve. I just may need to love Steve at more of a distance, right? Yeah. But it doesn't mean anything against Steve. So don't make an emotional decision, because if you realize that Steve is not good for who you've evolved to or who you're evolving to, right? The Bible says strive, in all of our doing strive for perfection. So you may be striving for perfection and Steve wants to stay where he is. Right. So that's pulling you back. Don't make an emotional decision. Say, man, I love Steve though, man. Right. I don't want to let him go like that. So you know what? I think I'm gonna still hang out with Steve. Guess what you just did? You just stopped striving. You just allow Steve to dictate who you become. And so that's what I mean by don't make an emotional decision. Make a logical decision. But I do know that it may be a tricky one because your emotions are involved. That's so good. Just want to acknowledge that.
You, right? Steve, who's red shirt, you're not a bad guy. We just use your name, for example. But I'm Steve.
I know, right? Yeah, because Steve might be listening, right? So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes part one of Association. Right. Make sure you tune in next week where we're going to tell you what to do. All right? And there's going to be 3 categories that we share that with you on what to do with this list of your association that you take care of this week. So again, Obina Indu.
Carlos V. Spencer.
From CEO Circuit, where we help you
become the CEO of every area of your life.
God bless.
God bless you.